I promise, whoever did this is going to pay.
Hey guys, Blazie here, and welcome to my review of Dragons in 9 Realms Season 2. This came out quite fast, didn't it? And Season 3 is coming out in August, making me really think this was all going to be in one season, but they're splitting it up, because this is, once again, only 7 episodes. Well, that's at least one more than the Season 1, I guess. But yeah, it's not a lot of episodes, so does that damage it? Is this season better or worse? Well, I don't think it's neither, honestly. It's just very okay. There's nothing bad about it, but nothing that's an improvement either, so I don't know. I, for one, enjoyed it enough to want to see more. It was perfectly okay for what it was, because I did enjoy the first season. Go check out that video, link in the description if I remember to put it there. For a quick rundown, I like the characters, I like the new dragons, I like the premise and what the show is trying to do, but what is the most important part of How to Train Your Dragon? The dragons, of course. Especially like with the fact that the show is now just called Dragons. And I generally like what they have here. So, I will go through spoilers. I will say if you have watched Season 1, I do recommend Season 2 just as a fun time, but does add to the mystery as to what that symbol means to Tom, the main character, and just as a fun dragon world with some cool new and familiar dragons. Is it better than Season 1? No. But does it need to be? No, not at all. So, I do recommend it for the dragon lovers out there. And before I go on to spoilers, you should like the video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because why not? Please? Please? You should also comment down below what your favourite dragon is. And yeah, now that the YouTuber stuff is out of the way, let's get on with the video and let's go into spoilers. So there's a few new dragons in here. We've got this cute little unicorn dragon who turns out isn't so cute.
As I thought. Maybe you guys were right.
Maybe?
They're called bubble hordes. They're kind of cool being able to blow bubbles out of their like hordes that explode. Also grow little spikes out of their bodies, so yeah, you don't really want to mess with them. The character June theorizes these are parts of a myth of unicorns, which is an interesting concept for sure to have dragons represent these myths in modern times. So I get what they're trying to say here. There's the magma breather. I love him. He is chunky and lazy. I feel that, and I love him. We do get a Titan class version of a Featherwing, which is a pretty cool episode, which I will get into later. A Floodfang, a big underwater dragon. That was alright. Nothing real special there. That episode, however, is great, which I will get into. Next we have Spider Wings. I bloody hate them. I hate spiders with a passion, and this is a world with spiders that have freaking wings, so I don't think I want to be part of this world anymore. Then we get a familiar dragon, a Razor Whip, which much like Heather had in the other series, though this one seems slightly different because it's obviously not the same one. It does look a little bit different and has new powers. That is pretty darn cool, being able to create tornadoes with its wings. And then last of all, one that spoiled in the trailer, the Skrill. It does seem much larger than others, but yeah, we got the Skrill, and like, it's a great episode, but yeah, it was spoiled in the trailer. So we got a few new interesting dragons, maybe like, not the most exciting, but I always like seeing what they come up with in this world. So in terms of new dragons, I do like them, I do. And then we got two new characters to show, Eugene, June's brother, who is just a total douchebag and hella gay. Like, come on, look at that eyeliner and eyelashes, making him look like James Charles over here. But yes, he is a real douchebag, kind of like goody two-shoe kind of character. Basically, he's a douche to his sister while putting on an act that he's a good boy to his mum. But I absolutely love that no one else is falling for it. It's kind of hilarious.
Well, maybe June's over at the Baker residence. Now you two ladies enjoy your garden and your beautiful memories. Okay, bye.
Such an interesting child.
Yeah. We could fertilize the garden with that good boy act.
I will admit, I hate him at first, but I started to like him in the last 2 episodes, as it just kind of showed how dumb and odd he is. So here he is introduced into episode 1, which wasn't an amazing start to the new season. It did feel very just okay. It did introduce the bubble hordes, but I got kind of annoyed at June, who was just so excited to keep the little dragon, forgetting all about her wands, by the way, but which isn't really, like, talked about, but yeah, she does kind of just dismiss them, which is just, like, rude. All because this one looks slightly like a unicorn, which she has always wanted. But it's not a unicorn. She simply stated it looked kind of like it could be like the myth of one, but it doesn't mean it's a unicorn. Like, she just, it's so annoying. It's so annoying. She's the one who simply stated it could be part of a myth, which she does a lot in this new season, and it honestly just gets really annoying. She just acts like such like she's so smart and knows all about these things. And it's like, oh, you don't know what a unicorn is? You don't know what a minotaur is to everyone else? And it's just like, goddamn, shut up. Shut up, please. She's honestly just kind of annoying this season. Like, at one point there in a maze, like, figures she was like, oh, this is like the myth of a minotaur. That, like, once we reach the center, we'll find a beast. And it's just like, or maybe it's just a maze. Mazes don't have to have minotaurs in them. Not everything has to be based on a myth. I don't know, honestly, yeah, she just really annoyed me this season. Same with D'Angelo, who kind of just wanted to do, like, things his way and would try taking charge, but it's all comedic about it. But it was just kind of annoying and just not comedic to me. He was just that kind of character. He is my least favorite, but he's not awful. Just very meh. Anyway, within that first episode, Tom has a bad dream about the Fault Whipper dragon that they defeated in the season final. And it doesn't seem like he regrets hurting him, since the dragon didn't understand he was doing anything bad. So maybe that's like setting something up. I don't know, but it's interesting for sure. It does like make it seem like Tom doesn't want that to happen again. Also, Eugene was introduced in this episode as well. In episode 2, his mum heads to a cave that leads to the hidden world, so Tom tries to distract her while the others can have time to like block it up, while also getting some nice moments with Tom and his mum bonding over old times. And honestly, I don't mind these kind of moments. This was like a better episode to me than the last one, as like D'Angelo like tries taking charge to plug up a wall to the hidden world, but no one, especially Thunder, cares to listen to him. Eventually they find the magma dragon, which again I do love. He just looks so dirt with the lava drooling out of his mouth. I love him. But the whole episode is also about being sneaky. But Thunder ain't exactly like Feathers, the actual stealth dragon.
Sorry, pal. You gotta stay with the team. You're no Feathers when it comes to stealth. Hi! See?
But he shows he can be stealthy and follows Tom throughout the cave, even though Tom does see him like pretty much right away. But his mum, of course, doesn't. At one point, Tom and his mom almost die, and just like Superman's dad in the awful Man of Steel movie at this awful freaking moment, Tom is all like, no, you stay there, Thunder. Don't let the world know you exist yet. Yeah, it's that moment. Though he also almost reveals Thunder to his mom, but the bad girl, the head of like the operation, who is just like a bitch, like that's her entire character. She pops up before he could like tell his mom his secret. But yeah, this was a little bit more fun of an episode. Third episode is an Alex episode, who I generally like. She is entertaining and just full of anxiety and just wants to hide away. I am her. This episode is more so about Alex becoming brave where it matters. The kids are told to do a speech in front of everyone, since they're still kids and need to do like some kind of schooling. So while everyone else feels comfortable to do so, Alex doesn't. Blah blah, they end up being attacked by these creepy dragons that look much like Feathers, aka Featherhides, which June calls them zombies. She constantly does that. She constantly calls them zombie dragons. Like, annoyingly constantly. And guess what? Spoiler alert, they're not zombies. She was wrong. Honestly though, this episode was pretty good. I felt like there was like a real threat here. D'Angelo even gets bit at one point and then Feathers gets dragged away by them. So there's a lot kind of happening. Eventually they go after them while D'Angelo thinks he's now turning into a zombie because Jude won't shut up about it. It's kinda annoying. Again, he ain't my favourite character. They do end up fighting them, all gathered around, being all like weird and hive mind-like. Feathers is trapped on top of this thing. They fly above like all the dragons at one point because their wings are all damaged. So they can like, yeah, fly above them without being attacked. But as they get up there, there's a Titan-sized Featherhide zombie dragon protecting Feathers. They leave and kind of try and come up with a new plan. Or just want to leave, because yep, of course, Alex, however, doesn't want to, and she wants to save her friend, and the others just don't seem to want to, and it's just like, seriously, guys? Seriously? You guys kind of suck. But it's to show that Alex can be brave when needs to be. That even though she can't do a speech in front of others, she's brave enough to save her best friend from an even larger dragon. I honestly appreciate that, because there's different kinds of being brave. So I kind of like this. And yeah, turns out, they're not zombies. They're just kind of shedding their scales, and that's kind of what it makes them look like. So with a couple soundwave blasts or feathers, they shake off their scales and become all pretty again. Even like repairing their wings, of course. It was a good episode though, I did highly enjoy it. Episode 4 is where the second new character comes into it, Leonard.
I love the smell of freshly butchered trees.
Or shall I say, Buzzsaw.
Why can't you work together now?
Well, Leonard, it's,
Don't call me Leonard! Only my mother calls me that. The name's Buzzsaw.
He looks as though he'll be the villain of the show. Hopefully he does. He doesn't return in any other episodes, but I hope he becomes a villain because he is very much like Dagger in the original series. Just very crazy and kind of stupid. Not to mention he is voiced by Haley Joel Osment, or however you say his last name, I'm sorry about that, aka Saw from Kingdom Hearts.
Why don't I hear the sweet sound of saw teeth chewing through pine?
He is part of a family that owns this large logging company, and they're taking trees down. His three workers aren't really getting shit done, so he tries to do it himself. And accidentally sets fire to the forest, which he never realizes he did. And even at one point left to go get some fuel for the chainsaws, leaving the other three behind as they even get caught up in the fire. And it's kind of just funny there.
where's the van?
Leonard, sorry, Buzzsaw took it into town to get more gas for the saws.
So, anyone feel like saving Buzzsaw's family business?
But then as they're rescued, Buzzsaw comes back with a van full of gasoline, all like, well, some water will fix this, it'll be fine. And of course, he crashes, fuel leaks out, and the whole thing explodes.
Not too bad. Probably still drives.
He does survive, somehow, I don't know how, but he does. But in the end, still blames others for what happened and even vows revenge on whoever did this. And so a big part of this whole thing, though, is he sees thunder. He sees the dragon and so believes he did it.
A lightning bird? The lightning bird.
So his whole kind of revenge plot that I hope happens is because he set fire to his own company by mistake. That's kind of hilarious. I'm down for him being a villain. I hope that happens. I'm totally down for Crazy Saw.
The name's Buzzsaw.
Also in this episode, Thunder and Tom find a new location that has a giant lake system in a cave. So now they can fly around here freely, giving me a lot of like How to Train a Dragon vibes that this show did need. It needed these water moments, so these kind of like very familiar kind of moments. It did need them, and I do really like it. And yeah, in general, it just looks really great. Though, also, Tom does have, like, the Viking helmet here, and does continue this whole thing of wanting to understand what this symbol means. And eventually, he does tell June about it, but not the others. Like, he's being, like, all secretive about it. But I think it's them trying to make Tom into this kind of lone wolf type. Which, I mean, is kind of what Hiccup did as well. He would, like, run off around with, like, and fly around toothless, investigating things without the others. So, it's fine. I understand what they're doing there. So, yes, episode 4, I enjoyed. Episode 5 is where the spiders come in, and it's a very meh episode for the most part. This episode is more about D'Angelo trying to be like his dad and being all strict and following rules, while Tom doesn't care to follow rules all the time. And so it addresses him not having a dad, which I appreciate they go into. They do explain it, because it's basically his dad just left him and his mom one day. Like, that's really it, but at least they said something about it. It does explain Tom being more independent and not really caring for, like, what D'Angelo's dad has to say. Then it's also, like, about D'Angelo doesn't have to be his dad. He needs to be his own person. Again, though, it's a very meh episode. Episodes 6 and 7 are a two-parter. Eugene returns, who I thought was dead at this point. Like, the last time we saw him was locked up in a closet in episode 1. So now I guess he's out of the closet, which has to happen at some point. No straight dude looks like that. Anyway, he goes around looking for the group. The other parents not taking any of his good boy bullshit, which again is hilarious.
I just wish June had finished.
Have you finished your chores, Eugene? And while you search the skies for a well-polished response, let me answer that question for you. Nope.
But also Thunder has disappeared, so now we gotta track him down. Entering a new part of the cave, a new realm, if you will. That's all dark and mysterious. Though, because it's like a 20-minute episode, gotta make him fight off against the Spiderwicks and the Bubble Hordes again. Gotta reuse those assets. Whatever, it's fine. The original show also did that kind of stuff a lot. There's stuff happening, that's what matters. They do keep seeing lightning, so assume it's thunder. Yes, I know that sounds confusing. Blah blah blah. Others want to leave because it's dangerous and not even check if it's thunder because they're horrible people and don't care about other people's dragons. Seriously, guys. Seriously. And Tom here does now say something that triggers him to show the Viking helmet, and it's simple. That secret didn't last very long now, did it? Love that he carries it in a small backpack, considering how large those hordes are. They'll definitely create some kind of bulge. That's what he said, here. So now they're all moody that he didn't say anything. Next scene is with Eugene, and I giggled.
So, June thinks she can sneak away with her friends and leave me in the dark.
And then it's back with the others as a tornado comes down that turns out is being made by the Razor Whip. Honestly, a very cool entrance, and like all this looked very cool. In the end, it even makes like a tornado that lights on fire, creating like a flame tornado, which is really cool. It's a very tense kind of situation that D'Angelo then takes charge and decides to sacrifice himself to save the others by flying up the tornado towards the dragon. Of course, he is perfectly fine. It was kind of pointless like that. He doesn't even have any kind of bird mark or scratch on him, which would at least add to something. Like, come on, please. Just a tiny little burn mark on his arm or something, causing a distraction so they could beat him. Now Tom finally finds Thunder within an area around him, showing like signs of battle with like a much larger dragon. So this kind of setting things up for the next episode, and I'm excited. Yeah, it's a squirrel. It was ruined in the trailer. This whole build-up doesn't work because of that trailer, but it's still a good setup and was a good episode. Episode 7 then starts with signs of Thunder's family also fighting the Skrill. Like, Tom seems to want to, like, find Thunder's family, and that's kind of part of, like, this whole storyline, the whole thing of Thunder, is that he was separated from his family. But it's like, do the other dragons have family? Do their family matter at all? Maybe it's more so that Thunder is a young dragon, maybe, and he does still have a family, but yeah, what about all the others' family? I guess that doesn't matter at all. Like, why does Thunder's family matter more? Whatever, it's fine. So they continue onward, hoping to find Thunder's family. They end up in a new ice realm that's more so a big maze, and eventually find the Skrill, which does look larger than the others, as I believe I did say. And, well, if you don't know, Skrills and Night Furies don't really get along, or at least I guess Night Lights is in this situation. And Thunder is absolutely pissed at this dragon, just wanting to fight it with Tom holding him back at one point and arguing with him, which just wakes him up and fighting starts. At one point, Tom totally gets hit with the Skrill's lighting, but it's totally fine. You know, at least puff up his hair or something like he did in the first season, but no, that never happens again. It's a little dumb, but I think it is to then show that the lighting goes through him and into Thunder, which is then showed later. They then use it later. I guess again, yeah, showing that he can improvise and learn quickly, much like Hiccup could. Eventually they all get separated, with Thunder being very much like Toothless when it came to rivalry and just wanting to fight. Alex's iPad gets broken at one point, which is like a huge thing throughout the show, that she constantly has this iPad. So, yeah, her world is destroyed. I do have to wonder if she'll suddenly have one in season 3. They did do a creepy little horror thing with all the maze, like the Maze of Ice aspect. That was kind of great. It was just kind of fun, all this. Besides June being all like, the Minotaur of the maze is out for the hunt or whatever. Girl, please shut it. Stop. You're annoying at this point. You're just annoying. because clearly it doesn't look like a Minotaur at all. So stop trying to compare it to the Minotaur. So yeah, as time goes on, Tom has a convo with Thunder, mentioning how I guess the two are very alike and keep secrets and go off and do their own sort of things without the others. And honestly, this is just like a sad and adorable scene here that goddamn I'm such a sucker for. It just hits me in all the white spots, and I hate how easily this shit gets to me.
I just don't get why you left without me. Guess Alex was right. We've both been keeping secrets. Listen, wherever your family went, we're gonna find them. And I'm gonna help you. I promise. Just need to stick together and trust each other. And I need to learn how to trust my friends with my secrets. Speaking of that, let's go find them.
It's just very adorable to me, and I'm so susceptible to it. But now as the Skrill shows up again, Thunder just wants Tom away and keeps like kind of shoving him away, blasting things to block him up, so they can just fight and keep him safe. But Tom ain't having it. Eventually fighting off again with a very Dragon Ball Z style, with them like blasting at each other. It's very Dragon Ball Z, which I fucking loved, and I absolutely love this stuff. Honestly, it was kind of cool and got my emotions going. Suddenly, Eugene again. I'm kind of loving him here, and I hate that I do.
Lame.
And then back to Jags as things are hitting the final and getting emotional. Tom figures out the silver in the ice and attracts a lightning shot out by the Skrill. And so he ends up like taking a part of it, using it like a freaking sword. But more so as a lightning rod. As they then once again fight, Skrill takes out the others, so now it's Thunder and Tom against the Skrill. And damn, did this scene go hard. The action, the intensity, the freaking music was so good. The music was so good. They went for it in this scene as Tom uses the lightning going into the silver to then go into his body and then into Thunder, charging him up for a big blast that knocks the Skrill out and smacks him to a wall, opening up 2 new caves in the process.
Power up, pal! Let him have it!
One, that's a quick exit home, of course that's gotta happen. The other, into a new realm. But seriously, is this like part of the 9 realms? Is this what the whole 9 realms kind of idea of this show is, of what this show is called? Because I'm kind of confused by that. I'm just gonna assume this is one of the 9 realms. Because if so, is the crystal, like their crystal little base, I guess will be a realm. The lake area, the ice area, and now this new area. Oh, I guess the Dark Zone area was one. So there's been like 4 or 5 zones at the moment. Or realms, sorry. I guess, maybe. I don't know. It's fine either way. And then they find an arrowhead with a dragon mark on it, and end of the season. Not a bad end to the season at all. It's just, this really does feel like it was like split up for one season. Just because, yeah, again, this was only like 7 episodes, and just, like, what's going on with Eugene? What's going on with Buzzsaw, who was only in 1 episode at this point? Like, we're setting them up, but there's not enough episodes to give them time to become, like, actual characters. I'm just a bit confused as to what their plan is. Well, guess we'll find out in Season 3, coming very, very soon, which again, will only have, like, 7, 8 episodes or so. So the final 2 episodes were very good. I absolutely loved the battles with the Skrill. It all looks so good to me. As I said, they went hard with the music there, and then adding to the mystery that the Dragon Riders of the past had been here before, which they even added a little bit of the How to Train Your Dragon theme, and so as soon as I heard that, it got me emotionally invested. Again, I'm so susceptible to that kind of stuff.
Is that
It sure is. We're not the first people to find this place. Maybe whoever dropped this spearhead has some answers. And we're gonna find out what they are.
I will say as well, I love most of the visuals of the show. When they're exploring the caves, I think it looks great with all the crystals and everything. The lake area look really good when they're flying around. Like, sure, the animation of the characters may not be perfect, but but the colouring and just all that just looks very pleasing to me. The last fight in the last 2 episodes look great. In terms of visuals, it does look good to me. Most of the time, anyway. In terms of story, it is slow going and kind of just like a bit of a mess all over the place. Like they're introducing QG now, and then Buzzsaw, and just what's going to happen there. But at the same time, like, it's not really that slow because there's only 7 episodes of Season 2, so you go through it pretty quickly to reach the story bits. Honestly, Season 2 was perfectly fine. Sure, there's things I didn't like. D'Angelo, for example, is just kind of annoying, and so was June this season, but everything else was pretty great. I am looking forward to where this is all leading and hoping Buzzsaw becomes a villain. I for one, am not minding this modern dragon story, even though you gotta let go of some sense of realism quite a bit for the fact, like, no one ever sees these dragons, even though there's a good couple times in this season where they're flying above the town. Yes, during the night most of the time, but yeah, you gotta kind of lose your sense of disbelief kind of thing, yeah. But whatever, in the end, I give Season 2 a 7 out of 10 foxes, which is 1 less than the previous season, but it's still very high, and I do recommend it if you like the first season. I understand why some don't like the show, which are very poor reasons to not like the show. It's really stupid, so I might have to do a video on it, on how stupid some people are for giving, like, this show, like, 1 star kind of thing. It's just like, that's your reason? That's pathetic. Anyway, that's the end of this little review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please do give this video a like and subscribe to my channel, because I'll love you if you do. Hit that bell icon, and this fox says, be who you want to be. Alright guys, bye for now.
Is this a new thermal? Oh, what a luxurious blend. Breathable and sweat wicking. I'll have to pick one up.